fam? This is D Rose of the Supremely Black Podcast. Hope everybody's been having a great weekend. Thank you for tapping in today. So what we're actually going to be discussing is that the college athletes now are able to get paid. We're going to discuss what are some of the positives to that and what are some of the areas of, some of the areas of opportunity that could actually be with that. I think this is dope for the college athletes to finally get paid. I think that this really gives them the opportunity for, one, the exposure, and then with the NIL rule, which is the name, likeness, name, image, and likeness. I think that's huge because if you watch college sports, you realize that is a $1 billion industry that has always been fluent. There's always been money coming in and out of that. So it's really nice that the athletes are now starting to reap the benefits of it. I really think that this plays a huge part, definitely for the HBCUs. If you've noticed, Master P's son went to TSU and he's already signed like a $2 million contract. There was a guy, a young brother that actually hadn't even started for Alabama yet, and he had already made $1 million before he's ever made his official start. So I think those are huge. But reason why is because with them being able to pour money into the athletes and they're actually making money, that generates more income. So for the HBCUs, and they're in like the SWAC and the FCS, competing with the people that are in the FBS or like the Power 5 programs, that helps to get that financial gap and those resources down because everybody's kind of getting the same exposure due to them being able to be able to monetize everything about them. So I think that that's huge for them. I really like that. Just yesterday, for my people out of Memphis, salute. It was the Southern Heritage Classic with Jackson State University and Tennessee State University, which is Deion Sanders is the coach for Jackson State and Eddie George is the coach for Tennessee State. Both of them are, brothers. Both of them have come from the NFL. Both of them are Hall of Fame talent. So I think that type of exposure for the HBCUs and those kids is huge. I think those are the positives too, because you get that exposure. Now, a couple of things that I would like to discuss that could potentially be an opportunity. I know that most of us come from an environment where we're all trying to make it out. Sports is typically some of the things that we lean into to make it out of those, poverty-stricken environments. I just hope that with them being able to see money, that they're able to touch it, but it doesn't give them the big head to where they lose sight of the goal. Because even though you're making money in a college sense, the ultimate ticket is to punch that ticket to the MLB, the NBA, NFL, if that's what you aspire to be. That's one key opportunity. Another key one is that, unfortunately, I wonder, with these kids being able to touch this money, would that make them a target from local law enforcement? Because honestly, there's kids that are making more than what a cop will make in his entire year, and he's protecting, quote unquote, the community, right? So I think that that's going, and let's just all be realistic, especially when you're pouring into hundreds of thousands, potentially millions into these kids' hands early. I think that could create envy from some of the same high school or same town beef that you may have had, but also from a perspective of law enforcement now is going to be trying to monitor these kids even more, is because they know for a fact these kids actually have a lot of money that could potentially be behind them or in front of them. So I think it makes everything a little bit more complex, because now you have to watch your circle around you, because now at an earlier age, maybe 18 or 19, you're officially a business, a brand, and something that you have to protect. So I think that that's one key thing, that even though I love that they're able to monetize for their talents, that's huge. But I think I hope that they have the training in place or the mentors in place to school these young brothers, to really make them keep them focused in that. Because I think one of the key things of that is that when you have that type of money early, we all know the temptations. I mean, I remember the first time that I actually started touching a bag when I was younger. I understand that it gets a little different. Everybody has a handout. People look at you different. Cops may approach you different. There's a lot of different situations that come with, quote unquote, having some money at a young age. So I think that's one of the key things. So it's not many negatives, but I do think that that's going to be key. So hopefully we have the financial people in place to mentor these kids, that where they are getting six figures, early 18 to 19, they know how to handle that and know what comes with that particular fame. But just to kind of speak on what was really huge to me yesterday, like with Deion Sanders being on Jackson State's side and Eddie George, I think that was the very, very key pieces, because for them to take their personality basically and what they've already brought to the game and pour it into HBCU, I think that really means a lot to our culture. And then for me not to kind of tie the knot with that, it wouldn't be, Supremely Black with that. But with those brothers actually pointing to those HBCUs and the swag, that's huge, man. And I think this is the perfect timing for them to really just build up and get that gap to where they're getting the game showed on ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN3 consistently, get those tickers showing at the bottom to get those exposure, because just last year, for most people that didn't know, well, the year before last, there wasn't anybody that was drafted from an HBCU. And we all know that there is a lot of talent at those historical Black colleges, but they just haven't gotten in spotlight. I think with the pay coming in now, with brothers like Deion and Eddie, and even other Black coaches that are willing to sacrifice their actual talents and being able to go into like a FBS school, which is like the bigger Power 5 schools. That's your Alabamas, that's your Ohio States, the bigger schools. For them to pour into the smaller colleges as they view the HBCU, I think this is huge. So yesterday for me watching that game, it was not about it just being a football game. To me, that was a huge power play. For once, the focus on a Saturday wasn't just all the big programs. It was really around the Southern Heritage Classic, which has been going on for 32 plus years. But I will guarantee you this was the biggest one because of what comes with it, with the star power having two Black coaches on both sidelines that are Hall of Famers, and and they play in the NFL. So I think that's huge. So major shout out to all the brothers that are capitalizing on getting paid for their likeness. Also a huge shout out to all the mentors that are going to be in place to help those brothers survive and manage those funds and keep everything and keep them out of harm's way. Major salute to you all. We definitely need that. I think this is a huge step, especially since we all know that there's a lot to gain from sports. It's not the all-in be-all, but since that is something that is actually awarding them the ability to get paid, it's definitely time for us to capitalize on the monetization, but also protect our youth in that case. So definitely, I would love to hear you all's thoughts on the direction of, one, the athletes being paid, but also for the FCS, for the people that actually follow historical Black colleges in sports. What do you really think that this is going to do for the young brothers that are able to get paid? What are some of the pros? What do you think are some of the cons? As always, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure that you comment. Make sure that you also subscribe if you're really rocking with the content. You all enjoy your weekend. Continue to be blessed. This is D Rose at the Supremely Black Podcast. Salute.